We didn't break the gem. It's been shattered since the world's been battered. But if you want to help us restore peace to the world, you can support us on patreon.com/WassesCastProductions. For less than the cost of having a chunk of puppies, you can support our show. That's bonus episodes, early access, exclusive content, and harmony across the land. Again, that's patreon.com/WassesCastProductions. Save us and save the world.
Time ago, the four podcasts lived in harmony. Then everything changed when the algorithm attacked. Wait, this seems familiar. Weird. Welcome to the After Credits Cast, the only film podcast to be full of original ideas, and we've never ripped off anyone else ever. We totally swear. I'm your host, AJ Wasasisu, and then I'm joined by Raya Metters.
Yeah, I absolutely take it, and that badass dragon sword.
I'll take the water powers. That's fun. The intro theme for this episode is the Avatar theme epic mix by Samuel Kim Music. Listen, Ryan, we're not going to be a musical episode. I've got to pull where I can. It seemed like a fun idea.
This is acceptable.
You can follow us and our nonsense on various platforms of choice, including Patreon, YouTube, Acast, Apple and Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, Spotify, Podbean, and many, many more. I'm still not over the fact we're on Spotify. It's good. It's a good thing.
Fantastic.
And then you can also follow us on Tumblr and Twitter and Facebook if you want to reach out to us to say your thoughts on this movie, I suppose. I don't really have a fun way to segue to that. But Ryan, if they will have other ideas how to segue into things, where could they email us at?
They can email us at kickass-pixar-ninjas in my lifetime at excuse me. That's evacstation@gmail.com.
Technically not a Pixar movie. The last one they did was that Soul movie? Was that what it's called? Soul?
Yes. I keep messing this up. Dagnabbit,
well,
you're right.
Well, ever since Disney started doing the 3D animation, it's hard to keep them straight. Today we'll be covering 2021's Raya, the Last Dragon. I just go back and forth on how I pronounce it every time.
Always Raya. It's Raya.
I know. I always go back and forth though. Written by God damn, I don't remember how to pronounce his name. I know it's Win, but I can't remember how you pronounce the first name. Is it Key?
I believe it's Key.
Key Win, Adele Lim, Paul Briggs, and directed by Don Hall, Carlos Lopez Estrada, and also by Paul Briggs. The film currently sits at a worldwide total of 52,924,000, which is a little over half its cost. This is likely, this likely does not count for the Disney Plus streaming profit, so we will see how that impacts it. I don't know.
Them quarantine numbers, man, I swear.
I don't know how the streaming numbers are going to be counted, honestly, because I know there's also Mulan that happened not too long ago. I don't remember if they ever put numbers in for that, and I'm wondering if that's why there's such a delay on getting Black Widow out there, because if you can't report big box office numbers or big streaming numbers, how do you make a headline with that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean it's rough. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure they don't know how they're going to be doing it as of yet. So if we don't know, I'm pretty sure they don't fucking know.
If there are any bean counters out there who want to tell us how that works, let us know. I'm very curious. The cast includes Benedict Wong, Sandra Oh, I'm assuming Talia Tran?
Mm-hmm. Talia Tran.
Yeah, Lucille Song, Alan Tudyk, Daniel Day Kim, who I thought was awesome, by the way. Gemma Chan, Isaac Wang, or is it Isaac Wan?
I think it's Wan.
Wan, okay. Awkwafina, and the last true Jedi, dragon, Kelly Marie Tran.
I'm so glad she got so much shine for this. Oh man, they did her so wrong in Star Wars. I'm glad she's moving on to bigger and better things.
This is she earned this one. After all that crap, she's earned this one. No awards at this time, but keep an eye on it for animation awards, because I'm pretty sure it's going to win some.
It's gonna win some shit, absolutely. Oh my god.
That would be an understatement, if anything. And then, Ryan, I'll turn it over to you for fun facts that I totally wrote down this time.
All right, well, we got 3 of them this time. Raya's fighting style using 2 sticks is based on the Filipino martial art Kali, also known as Amis, I believe, Amis, or Eskrima. Raya's fighting style is based primarily on the Indonesian martial art style Pencak Silat, and Namari's fighting style is more based on the Thai fight style of Muay Thai. Yes, I love it. Animated martial art. I love it.
This sounds very similar to another show that also did martial arts in great detail. I don't know which one that is.
You don't get the hell out of here. This is my segment. Get out of here. Next up, Kelly Marie Tran welcomes headcanons about Raya being LGBT, also believing that Raya is LGBT herself, and that Raya and Namari's relationship has a romantic subtext to it. She even joked that she was probably the first person to ship them. This is canon. I don't know what you talk about headcanon.
Yeah.
This is absolutely what it was.
My cousin watched it with us, and all she could say after seeing the 2 of them in the same room together is like, "Oh, these 2 are gay for each other." The whole time.
These 2 are falling hard, and that's why the ending hurts so bad. That's why the trust being broken is so painful.
Well, and I kind of like it because it's also they're both antagonistic towards each other once the initial the inciting incident hits off, and so just that whole dynamic works really well for this.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm gonna save it.
Yep,
I'm gonna save it. We're gonna talk a bunch about that. The final fun fact. For some time, the filmmakers were uncertain if Sisu and the other dragons would be resurrected at the end or killed off for real. But producer Osnat Shur finally insisted that there needed to be a traditional Disney ending that made your heart sing. And that because Raya and the others had saved the world themselves without relying on the dragon magic, they have earned the right to have the dragons back. It would have been too sad if the dragons didn't come back.
That's not what I wanted.
I'd have been crying. I'd have been crying too hard. Are you still alive?
Let's see. Let me make sure it's not my box.
Aaron! Aaron!
Having nothing but computer problems tonight. Let's see. Will it connect to any network?
Oh, and that's because the call ended. All right. Let's try that again. Excuse us, ladies and gentlemen. We're having a bit of technical difficulties. We'll be right with you in just a moment.
Hello!
Hello!
Hey, my internet disconnected for no reason whatsoever.
Hey!
But it was on the side of my computer disconnecting, not my box connecting, so it's weird. Anyway, if you would be kind as to pick up from where you left off, where I left off with you, I think you just started reading that third fact when I was disconnected.
Sure. We'll just do the whole third fact over again. For the final fun fact, for some time the filmmakers were uncertain if Sisu and the other dragons would be resurrected in the end or killed off for real. But producer Osnat Shur finally insisted they needed a traditional Disney ending that made your heart sing, and that because Raya and the others had saved the world themselves without relying on dragon magic, they had earned the right to have the dragons back. I feel like it would have been it would have been so bittersweet if the dragons didn't actually come back. Oh man. Oh man.
At the same time, though, don't they kind of rely on dragon magic? I mean, yes, they rely on trusting each other, but at the same time, they only trust each other to put it together the dragon ball, and that's how they win. And that ball is made of the dragon magic. I don't know.
What? Yeah, like true. But I mean, like, like I wouldn't credit the MacGuffin for actually saving the world. Like it was the trust that they put not in, like it wasn't even the trust that they had in the orb. It was the trust that they put into each other to trust that they would be able to get this done. So I mean, like, and I mean, Sisu was already talking about like the key component was trust. So it rather than humans relying on dragons to save the world, they had to rely on each other in order to pull it off.
As you were talking, I literally slipped one more anime reference into the synopsis. I just thought of it. It's a fun synopsis, by the way. You're gonna enjoy it.
All right, I'm gonna try not to laugh super hard and screw up your read.
I can't quite put my initial thoughts. I can't quite put my finger on it, Ryan. But there's a lot of elements that feel very familiar here, and I can't. And I really love how it all just comes together.
Oh my god. I loved this. It was better than I thought it was going to be. The subject matter was more mature than I thought it was going to do, and it got darker than I thought it would. Than I thought Disney would go for a while. But it all, like you said, it all comes together really, really well. I'm so glad we get to talk about it, and I loved every minute of it.
Mm-hmm. This is definitely one of the ones I was most excited for talking about once it got on the schedule, and yeah, the enthusiasm will not be wasted here today. Let's begin the synopsis here. We begin with a young Raya, as she is training with her father in the ways of the stick. He believes in uniting the nations of the world instead of having them all fight over the shiny MacGuffin. They host a gathering while Raya, is tricked by Zuko, Namari, who wants to steal the Avatar, the shiny. But it gets broke and unleashes dark spirits, the Droon, upon the world. They Medusa people, and Raya's handsome dad, makes a sacrifice to save her. We skip time about 6 years, and Raya is, Raya, that was actually on purpose, accent that time. And Raya is now of legal age, presumably. She is on the search for the Last Airbender, the dragon, and finds a water dragon named Captain Aquafina. She is out of magic, but the pieces of the shiny MacGuffin restore bits of her magic from her siblings. So, Raya and Captain Aquafina set out to find the pieces. Meanwhile, Namari is tracking down Raya. I'm going to keep doing that. For undisclosed reasons, but quickly surmises that Raya is gathering the literal Dragon Ball for reasons. On their journey, Captain Aquafina and Raya meet baby Aladdin and the Albu family, Discount Sanji, and a dad. They gather the Dragon Ball pieces and learn the truth of Captain Aquafina as they make their way into the Fire Nation, Fine Island, for the final battle. Captain Aquafina believes there is good in Namari and can convince her to join their cause to save the world. But Raya has trust issues because of Namari. As a result, they both kind of accidentally killed the world's last hope for peace and the source of magic for the Dragon Ball. With the last dragon dead, the water dries up and the Droon move in to wipe out what's left of the human race. Raya and Namari are fighting, but Raya sees her crew fighting to save everyone so they can from the Droon. So she joins them and Namari soon after. Cornered, Raya makes the ultimate sacrifice to give her Dragon Ball piece to Namari, placing her trust in her to end this. The rest of the crew does the same. Namari decides to try to rebuild the Dragon Ball pieces into the One Piece. In doing so, the magic is unleashed and the Droon are defeated, and all the petrified humans and dragons return. The true treasure was our friendship along the way. Captain Aquafina is brought back to life somehow, and we end up with a touching shot of all the nations coming together in harmony, making it really tough to figure out how to make a sequel from this one. Like, who will be our new villain now? Some radical wind mage? A militaristic magnesis maiden? That's just crazy talk.
Damn you. The references are off the chain.
I didn't think about the word about calling it the Dragon Ball until like halfway through. I'm like, fuck, it really is just a Dragon Ball. Fuck. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. Both the synopsis and the actual movie, honestly. It was probably one of my favorite Disney movies I've seen in a while.
Oh yeah. They definitely raised the bar on this one.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of raising the bar, Ryan, I just want to get to the hard-hitting stuff first. Let's talk about that animation, because holy shit, that animation is really solid.
It is. Oh, dude.
Like, just starting with, like, the most basic thing, the hair. Like, just seeing Raya's hair throughout the film, like, it actually looks real in some shots. And some scenes where you aren't seeing, like, the faces, like, you could almost mistake it for being, like, a live-action thing.
It's definitely improving. Yeah, I think the basic animation just for the character models are nuts in how realistic they're trying to be.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that doesn't work for you with the animation?
That doesn't work. I I think in terms of direction, it seems a bit interesting, or it seems a bit interesting to go for this kind of hyper realism with with Raya and Namari. And then have there are also humans that are more cartoonishly built, like the baby.
Yeah.
The Hun dad.
I can't remember his name, but no, I get what you're saying.
Right. This does not mean that I don't think they work or that I don't like them, because I absolutely love them. It's just, it feels like they're going a bit into different directions, with like one being hyper realistic and the other being kind of cartoon versions of like various tropes that we have in like Asian stories. But I still think they work. I still think they're connected pretty well, and I loved all the characters that were done.
It is a little odd that you'd have only two characters that are like, well, I guess three. Raya's dad is actually pretty realistic looking too.
Yeah.
It is weird though. You'd have only a handful of characters that like stick to the more realistic side of things. Then so many other characters are just allowed to be a little goofier. And I am very curious the logic behind that.
I think also that young Sanji was pretty realistically built as a young boy.
Yeah.
The fact that he was a whole ass cook was a whole thing, but
man, dude, that's me in the movie right there. I'm fucking slinging food for days.
The world is ending. Pull up a chair. Tell me about it. These dumplings just came out, man. They're ready.
There's not a whole lot for the animation side that does not work for me. Like, I think everything's pretty solid. I don't know if I'm digging the design of the dragons per se. Like, I don't think they're necessarily bad, but they're not the traditional looking dragons I'm used to. But at the same time, there are so many different designs of dragons around the world. It's kind of open to interpretation.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're leaning more towards Asian representation of the dragons, and like Eastern dragons, rather than like the kind of European, kind of Western centric version.
Well, I was even thinking that. I was thinking like compared to like the Chinese or the Japanese dragons I'm used to. Like, it doesn't seem very scaly, so to speak. I have seen some videos comparing it more to like traditional Naga designs, which I think fit, but I think trying to explain to little children what a Naga is going to be harder than explaining what a dragon is. So, like, what's a Naga? It's like, well, it's a snake monster, so it's a snake? No, it's a dragon. Okay.
Fair. But I think it's I think in the spirit of being as respectful and as representative, Ryan, I can speak, and as representative of the Southeast Asian countries that are all represented in this movie, I think the choice was spot on.
Yeah.
And I really loved it.
But overall, I think the animation works a lot. I think I wrote it down somewhere further down, and I can just jump to it now. The choreography is fucking... it fucks. It's really good. Like, this... So, obviously, we're just going to just throw it out there. Yes, this has a lot of very similar feels to the Last Airbender series. No shit.
But I also like the fact that, like, it keeps them human. You know, you don't have people throwing around fire or like a cat like making tornadoes underneath themselves. It kind of showcases the potential of like just straight up human characters, and those like combat scenes are fantastic.
They aren't doing that yet. I would not be surprised if a sequel or a series spins off from this, and they're involve like magic users at some point, which would be interesting. But
like humans are using dragon magic now. Let's go.
That would be the next step, I think. But we'll get there. We'll get there. But no, I think if you just look at the choreography by itself, even compare it to Last Airbender, which does use like real life martial arts inspirations to inform their choreography, like it's really good. It looks really respectful to the arts they're copying, and I like it when an animated show puts in the legwork to make it happen.
Yeah,
because it's not easy.
And you can tell how much attention to detail is like really being paid to get the representation right. And I think that's a really great thing by Disney. Not only is it gonna make for a hit because they obviously know what the fuck they're doing in terms of making these movies, but it also gives different cultures a chance to shine, and it introduces people to those different cultures. So now people who want to know more about Raya and the Last Dragon, they'll look into the legends that this shit is based on, and then you have more people actually learning about others, and that's the power of representation. I love that shit.
Now, I don't know that the legends is based on. Is Raya and the Last Dragon... is that similar to like Mulan, where like there's a bunch of different versions of the story, and so there's not one true version of the story, or is there actually a story that Raya and the Last Dragon's kind of based on?
I honestly do not know.
Oh.
I wish I had looked up some more information regarding that. I should have, but my job.
Fair. If anyone out
the way my depression is set up, yeah.
If anyone out there,
anybody who knows about that, absolutely, please contact us and let us know where we're fucking up with this.
Yeah, I would love to know a little bit more detail. I mean, obviously, I've tried looking into it. I'm not getting any consistent information. So if there's anyone out there from like the Southeast Asian area who does know, hey, hook us up. Let us know. Speaking of which, do you feel this does a good job capturing the feel of Southeast Asian cultures? Why or why not? And what more would you have wanted to see if you have any specific things?
I mean, I can't speak with any authority on it because I'm not familiar with the culture. I can tell you that it looks amazing, and I can tell you, and I've seen a lot of other people reacting really, really positively to seeing their culture represented on the big screen in such a huge blockbuster Disney feature. So based on other people's reactions to it, I think they're doing fantastic. I think they really knocked it out of the park with this one.
Agreed. I don't have the authority to really say anything super hardcore either. What I can say is I do feel like it's got a good grasp of like landscapes, for example, because if you're talking like Southeast Asian cultures, a lot of water is involved in that because there are a lot of peninsulas, a lot of islands, a lot of oceanic settings. So yeah, I would say involving a lot of water in your fictional version of that is probably the smart play to do, and it works really well here, I think. That's kind of, and obviously if you're going to have that as your landscape, you're going to have cultures based around that. You know, your fishing boats, your docks, your water feature centric super villain location, all that stuff. I think all of it works really well, honestly. That's kind of the depth I can go into with that one without more details. So just like the last one, if you know any more information than us, please let us know, because I'd love to see what else we're missing. Ryan, I have a serious question here for you. How long until Disney starts doing their own anime? Like, after this, how close do you think we really are at this point?
I mean, you have to kind of get into the idea of what is anime at that point.
I view anime as a style, not as where it's from. That's my interpretation.
Well then, if we're using that interpretation, then they're pretty fucking close, man. They're almost there.
Like this is the most anime weeaboo shit I've seen from Disney since they like fucking actually like helped publish the Ghibli movies in America back in the day. Like this is close.
It's close. It's definitely close. I would love to see more steps taken towards that. I think we've done a lot of the American culture shit to death, and while Disney is constantly putting out good movies based on American culture, we know this shit, man. We live it. Let's get some new stuff in there. Like I think some of the best stuff that's done is when it brings in and uses cultures and references and folklore that we're just not familiar with at all. It seems completely fresh and new to us because we haven't experienced it. Meanwhile, the people whose stories these are getting a lot of shine because they're finally seeing themselves represented on the big screen. I think of Moana. I think of Brave. You know, just like these, like you get to see something different, and the people who that's connected to, they get represented at the same time. It's a win-win. So I want to see more of that.
Coco's another good one.
Coco's oh man, oh god.
I
Don't talk to me about Coco.
I love Coco. I mean, just the skeletons alone sold me. Everything else is just great too.
I'm gonna fucking start crying like immediately, please.
But no, I agree, and I think I'm not saying I want Disney to exclusively do anime. I think I would like to see an anime branch, like something that lets them like explore that in more detail. But I agree with what you're saying, though. I think we need more varied cultures to get the Disney experience. I think just doing the straight-up white American stories we're all grown up with and used to, we've been there, we've done that. There's a lot of cultures that haven't gotten their stories told, and a lot of like lore and legends from around the world that none of us are familiar with. Like, until I saw the movie Mulan, I didn't know what Mulan was. And there's so many different stories from just the various Southeast Asian cultures alone. That's ignoring Russia, it's ignoring the Middle East, it's ignoring Africa, it's ignoring South America and Mexico. There's a whole bunch of things we have not ever seen. And while at the same time, our culture is being constantly exported to those countries in the forms of movies, in the forms of TV. So they're getting drowned in our stuff, and we don't ever really see any of their stuff. So it would be nice to kind of have that exchange go around the opposite direction to an extent, because I wouldn't mind seeing more of other places.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
What do you make of Namari as a villain? And was it wise for the production team to step away from the original idea, where she was controlling the drone?
Yes. Yes. Oh my god, that would have been horrible.
Yeah, according to what I was reading, apparently one of the original ideas they had was she would be in control of the drone and they'd, do her bidding and shit.
Yeah, nah. I think the one of the most brilliant decisions of this story was making it so that while Namari and the people of Fang initially cause the strife, they're not like fucking like the cartoonish villains that are twiddling mustaches and like looking to screw over everybody at the exact same time. Like they're like, I think the argument that they're making is that a lot of the world's troubles come from a lack of trust, and B, people looking to do what's right by their family and their selective group, possibly at the expense of other people. And that I think it's important that the humans in this story, none of them are evil for the sake of being evil. Like I would hesitate to really even call them evil, but they're trying to do what they think is necessary to protect their home and their country. Like even after the world gets thrown into disarray, the people of Fang are like they're constantly thinking, remember, everybody sees us as the people who broke the world. So so we are the ones that are going to have to fix it if we're going to survive after everything is all said and done. We can't like it has to be us that actually sets it right, so that we're not just exiled the moment that that everything is made right again.
I questioned the logic behind that too, because when she said that, I'm thinking to myself, okay, but if you just gave your piece to the coalition trying to bring it together, they would think of you as part of the heroes, and they would probably be cool with you just chilling versus you holding out and not doing shit and then letting things just fall by the wayside anyway. Like, your plan, it's kind of going to backfire, buddy.
But there is also no like real official coalition. Like the only people trying to actually gather all the pieces together is Raya and her group, and that's only because Raya is actually traveling with the last dragon that can put everything back together again. Nobody else was actually trying to make that move.
I almost feel like, and I get that they made this point a little bit, or at least Sisu did, if they had been upfront about her being a dragon, I think people might have been more receptive to the idea and be more willing to work with them versus holding out and not getting information and having to fight a lot harder to get the pieces you need.
Very true, very true. But I mean, it's like I think that's also the great thing about having a protagonist that's not fucking super perfect, because Raya, although she's very heroic and she's very brave and she's trying to do the right thing, she does not trust anybody, and it gets her in more trouble than she wants because she's unwilling to be burnt again. So, because the first time she actually extends trust, she was betrayed, and so having that be kind of a focal point for her character makes a lot of sense. It's not just that everybody else needs to get on Raya's page. Raya also needs to grow in order for the world to be fixed.
Which brings me to my next question. What do you make of Raya as a protagonist, and was her arc compelling?
Very much so. I mean, she's badass. She's voiced by a badass person. She's got a spooky fucking whip sword. I was like, oh, Ivy from Soul Calibur? All right, bet. I'm here. Let's do this. But the decision to not make her character Miss Picture Perfect is wonderful, because the primary goal of the movie, in my opinion, is and I'm pretty sure is pretty clear, is that is the importance of trust, and that we're only going to make it as a society, as a community, by putting trust in one another and making it as a group rather than everybody out for themselves. I wonder who the hell I'm speaking to right now.
I couldn't tell you, Ryan, but I think there are people who might think we didn't make America great again, but who knows?
But at the same time, there's a flip side to that coin, where you have people who originally wanted to do that but feel like they've been burned too many times, and so now they'll never trust the other people again. And you're gonna need both of those groups to kind of come together in order to actually make any real lasting change. That's what I see the movie saying.
It's almost like saying, hey, Republicans, stop being dickheads, and then Democrats, stop being upset about those guys being dickheads. Come together and let's make some shit happen.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep looking at my Disney movie where it all works out really, really nicely.
Bro, just as a sidebar,
even though it really does, even though it initially goes very, very wrong, because oh god, that ending was the third act was dark. The third act got real dark.
So as a brief sidebar, I've been watching this miniseries on YouTube about Teddy Roosevelt, and the fact that man was able to commit to getting people to work together across the aisle with people he actively hated just to get stuff done to take down big corporations that were doing horrible shit, fucking kudos to that guy. Like, best president ever. Teddy Roosevelt right there. Anyway. I think her arc is super compelling, and just the idea that she learns a lesson, like you said, that is very valuable. The whole needing to trust others to make anything happen. And just how we go on that journey is pretty solid. We see it from beginning to end, and like you said, the ending is dark, but it really pushes her to the limits of, like, you've got to do something. And I like that what finally gets her to realize Sisu was right was seeing the people she had been gathering this whole time, who she didn't trust but learned to trust, still living up to that promise, that trust that they could be there for her and have her back. And she realized at that time she didn't fully have theirs, and she decided that was the time she needed to make that call, and decided, if I'm going to be there for them, I got to do this. And that's when she finally trusts Namare to do the right thing, and that's all that came together super hardcore. Like, it was perfect. It was really well done.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, Jesus. Oh man, I gotta tell you the idea of a climactic like fight between the protagonist and the antagonist not having to do with like the protagonist is trying to do something heroic and get like the last thing in order to save the world, but Raya strides into that castle looking to kill Namari. Like, it's pure revenge at that point.
I had
like,
Skywalker vibes right there.
You fucked up the world. It's over. You betrayed me again. I know the world is ending, but I'm killing you. That's perfectly valid. I was just like, damn, this is Disney. Okay, this is very different from what I was expecting.
There's something about it where, yeah, like this is not a traditional Disney princess, but at the same time, I think it works really well. Ryan, I have to ask you, though, and this is another sort of tangential question, but still related, actually. So, Raya is a strong female lead protagonist, and we've already discussed how good that arc is. And I made comparisons earlier to the Avatar series, specifically to Korra, because design-wise, you can't argue the fact that they have a lot of visual similarities, especially in the beginning, when they have like the same kind of outfit and everything. But having been a fan of Korra, I'm also well aware that there are people who don't think her character arc is very good, or they don't think her character is very good. What lessons do you think that the Korra writers could glean from this to make a character like her better? Or was she even a problem to begin with, and fans are just being butthurt for no reason?
I think the Korra issue is. I think the core issue largely stems from having a beloved show to compare it to from Jump. I think Korra, in and of herself, is a compelling character. I think due to outside forces kind of getting in the way, I think the writing suffered a bit.
Yeah.
And that the story was not allowed to take the course that the creators would have wanted it to originally. I think that version of Korra would have absolutely been better than what we got, but I still don't think the Korra that we got is bad by any stretch. I think it deals with more mature subject matter, because the original Avatar is primarily a kid's fantasy where they do deal with some heavy topics, but at the end of the day, it's boy and his magical friends get together and to save the world. It's very kind of cut and dry, straightforward, but you tackle a lot of very complex, very morally gray issues in Korra, and Korra is not always like in life you don't always come out on top, but it's the ability to continue on and to learn from both the failures as well as the triumphs to become better with every step that you take. I think that's really what the focus of Korra was, and people just kind of missed that because they wanted to go back to the kid's fantasy of Aang and like him saving the world.
Yeah, I could counter that. I think a lot of it too comes down to the fact that Aang and Korra are such different characters that when you go from the happy-go-lucky kid to this mature teenage adult who is kind of rough to get along with at first, like she's kind of abrasive, but eventually if you watch the show long enough, you kind of warm up to it because she goes through a fucking journey, and it sucks to be her for a good chunk of it. You warm up to the character, and you really like the journey she takes, but unless you are willing to give it the time, it can be rough.
Yeah. I mean, I think like Korra and Aang are so opposites of the spectrums in like several different ways that it's very jarring to go from Aang to Korra. Mm-hmm. And I think a good amount of that was very, very intentional, but it was also hard for the audiences to make that jump because they're so different.
Yeah, I can agree to that. I may put this bit at the end of the episode as a sidebar in case people don't want to listen to Last Airbender
Makes
stuff.
sense.
But I just found like an interesting sidebar to discuss.
The big ass tangent of Avatar.
Yeah, well, in this movie, it's not surprising though. Which supporting character did you enjoy most, Ryan, and why?
I don't think she's a supporting character, but I think Namari. I think Namari might be my favorite. And I think Namari is my favorite because you can see the effects of nationalism and what that has on her character, but when it's all said and done and the important stuff starts happening, like the moment that Sisu shows up, it's pure awe, and it's like all of that other bullshit melts away, and you see the same, like the dragon worshiper that we were introduced to at the very beginning, and you can see that being like her being at war with herself because she feels that it's sacrilegious to even be attempting to take the last dragon and the orb, but she feels like she has to do it for her country. She's such a compelling character. I love Raya. Namari is a very, very close second for me.
I mean, Namari, again, has strong Zuko vibes where she's torn between duty to the country and, duty to the world, or to her own soul, essentially. And so, yeah, I could see that being a very compelling character to follow, especially because after having just watched the Last Airbender series again, villains like that, or I guess not even villains, but antagonists like that, just offer more depths and layers than what most other traditional ones do. And it's interesting how they sped up the redemption arc in this because it's all contained in one film. So it feels very quick, but not like rushed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the pacing was really, really well done because they showed that hesitation. The moment, it even starts off when she realizes that Raya is searching for the dragon pieces, and also she was searching for Sisu, the last dragon. She originally thinks about, why not join forces with Raya if she actually has a chance to bring all the pieces together, and she's talked out of it. And then Sisu makes an appearance, and she's like, oh my god, is this real life? Is this actually happening? And that that hesitation comes up again, but it's her mom again that talks her out of it. And her mom's not the villain. Her mom is looking at it from a nationalistic, pragmatic standpoint, and she's in her mind, if Fang isn't the one to put the world back together, Fang is going to be the first country that they all jump on because they'll be seen as to blame for everything. So even then, it's a bit more morally gray than your typical Disney villainy. So even showing her in tears and rage, both at herself for firing the bolts and at Raya for flinching and making the move, and just the pure sadness for the last dragon being killed, you see all of that in the very last moments when she's pretty much giving herself up to Raya after she loses, because she feels just as horrible as Raya does that it's come to this. So,
if America doesn't solve all of the problems in the world, people will blame America for those problems? Is that what I'm getting at in this movie?
Ooh, that tea is scalding. That is scalding. That's too hot, my guy. That's too hot. Stop it.
I can't help but read some of that depth and complexity in here. That's how good the writing is here. That's how good the writing is. Going back to the question, my favorite supporting character, or the one I enjoy watching the most, might be Sanji Jr. I just like the kid. I like the smooth talk. I like the shit he spins. Yeah, he's fun.
He's good, man. He's real good.
But Namari's also good. As like I would consider more of a central character, like her, Sisu, and Raya.
Yeah, I'm skirting. I'm skirting the
You're
lines.
skirting.
I know. I can't. I can't help it. Namari's so damn good.
Oh yeah, I get you.
If I have to pick another one, I would say the babies, because the baby and the monkey gang are just hilarious to me.
There's
a con baby.
They're stupid fun, but the best kind of fun.
Yeah, 100%.
This is one of the first Disney movies in a while that has that's a non-musical fantasy. Would you have enjoyed this with songs? Would it have worked with songs, or do you think the lack of fan songs will impact the fan response to the film? What do you think?
I honestly don't mind it. I think it would have been a bit weird to make it into a musical.
It would have killed the pacing, I think, for sure.
Yeah, I think it definitely would have thrown off the pacing. But I also think that the movie doesn't lack for music just because they don't have the characters actually singing. There's a lot of music, and it's all inspired by like traditional Southeast Asian culture and music. So I think having that just be the soundtrack for this just kind of makes the setting feel so much more lived in. So while it's not a quote unquote musical, I don't think it's lacking in music from the rest of the Disney films that it's adding to the annals of.
I'm gonna look it up between now and when we get to Wreck-It Ralph, because I think that's one of the other non-musical movies we'll be covering.
Yeah.
I'm curious how the non-musicals stack up to the musicals. Like, do the musical numbers perform better, or do the non-musical ones hold out about the same? I'm very curious how that would shake out. Because I'm not sure. I know people look at Disney as like the musical animation stuff, classics like Disney, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, all that stuff, all known for the big song numbers. But I don't know about other ones that don't dive as deep into that musical rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get that.
Are the Droon truly gone? Or do you think they can come back in some way?
I think for the sake of sequels, yes, there's a way that the Droon can come back. I think if your inclination is right and they're gonna look to either serialize it, like give it a sequel, or like try to do like an actual like follow-up show, and you start having humans that can use dragon magic, I think it's also natural that you start having humans that are like possessed by the Droon or something like that. I think that would be a next logical step. I feel like the magic is second fiddle to the other concepts in the movie, which are like the concepts of trust. And so how dragon magic is connected to like people trusting each other and unity amongst the nations, the Droon will come from the paranoia, the lack of trust, the nationalism that divides people. And as long as you kind of connect those magics and to those concepts, I think it'll work just fine. It doesn't necessarily need a sequel. It does really, really good right here and now, but the way Hollywood works and the way capitalism works.
At the same time, though, the world of Raya is so interesting that I would not be opposed to coming back and doing more stuff with it.
I wouldn't be opposed. You are correct. I mean, it feels, or like I would want to see what they do with it, because they set up such crazy stakes, and they really kind of make the idea of a united like island feel impossible, only for them to actually achieve it at the end. I don't want to sully that. It feels so great. I don't want anything to break that up. It would have to be like an outside kingdom coming and starting shit. It would have to be something like that, at least for me.
What about that
personally?
What about that one kingdom to the north? All the ice bullshit going on.
Hey, okay.
What's it called again? Fucking
Frozen Land. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what it is. I can't remember what the name of it was. It's something. It's something Dale. I can't remember what it was though. Icewind Dale, something like that.
Icewind Dale.
Hey, now I'm gonna look it up now. I honestly can't remember.
I don't know if you said that to be a joke, but that's hilarious.
What is it called? What's it called?
Icewind Dale. You.
Arendelle. That's what it's called.
Okay. Maybe. Although, like, it would then be interesting to see what actually drives them to blows. So
I am Elsa, and I do not like the water. I must freeze it. All must become frozen. How does this compare to Disney's other Asian-inspired animation classic, Mulan? Aside from the obvious, female lead is a badass warrior with, issues of, trust and whatnot, and their companion is a, smart, wise, cracking dragon.
Yeah, truth be told, I like this more because it's more morally complex.
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Mulan, but like at the end of the day, like the Huns are
they're pretty generic.
To defeat the Huns, yeah, they're pretty generic. Like they're badass design, but aside, like they want to conquer everything and they have to stop it, and that's pretty cut and dry. It makes for a good story, but I think the story in Raya is much more satisfying and emotionally compelling.
Mm-hmm. Well, and nothing short to Mulan, of course. I mean, it's more theming is about female empowerment, or at least I think that's what it's going for because of all the need to pretend to be a man and all that stuff. Yeah, I think that while that's a good starting place for a story like this with a strong female lead, I think we've come a long way from that now. We can start diving into other directions with a female lead, including what you've said here with the deeper meanings and the more nuanced villains of this film. So I think we wouldn't have Raya without Mulan having happened first, but I think that
absolutely.
But I think that I think we've definitely grown from what Mulan's brought to the table.
I think the bar has been raised. I do think the bar has been raised.
And then lowered, of course, from the live action movie, but that's a whole other story.
I haven't seen the live action movie, so it can't sully my idea of the story.
I haven't seen either, but from what I hear, it's okay. It's not great. Let's see. We've already ignored the Avatar, we've already done the Avatar question. And finally, we've already talked about future films and if they could be made, what you want to see. I think we've already said, Dragon Magic, Druid Shamans, or Druids.
That's good.
Disney, call me up. We've got a sequel. Let's do it.
Druids.
So that's all the questions I have. Ryan, is there anything that I missed that you want to hit up?
No. I'm so glad we got to do this. Oh my god, this was a really good one.
And I'm loving that we're getting to do more new movies now. Not traditional like we did in years past, but certainly this has been a nice breath of fresh air.
Absolutely.
So thank you for listening to the questions. We'll jump into the mailbag real quick. If you want to send us your questions, your thoughts, or your concerns about the film or future films, or just life in general, you can hit us up at Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook. And Ryan, if they want to email us directly, where can they email us at?
They can email us at the literal Dragon Ball at excuse me, sorry. That's evacstation@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. This is the part of the episode where we rank the film from platinum to trash and all the close in between. But don't forget, we are also filling out the D list, the list of all the Disney movies that we're going to watch. And yes, this list will eventually include Aladdin and all the other ones when we get to them. Eventually. I don't know when. Don't expect it anytime soon. Ryan, where is Raya gonna go in our list of 2 films so far?
Oh boy. Oh well. I mean, I again, we are a bit out of order, Cogliastro and whatnot, as to when you guys are hearing this. Well, this is a platinum. This is my platinum. This I'm not limiting myself to one platinum, but this is my platinum. This is my first platinum of this season. I think we are at the current pinnacle of what Disney has put out. And while other movies do other things better, I think in terms of pushing the envelope in both complex character motivations, morals, and just general storytelling, this is definitely pushing the bounds. Also in terms of representation, I absolutely love this movie. So this is absolutely my platinum. I'd put it above Tangled, which is a solid movie, but it's not Raya.
Well, and to be fair, Tangled is the first one of the new wave of Disney films, the CG movies, if you will. We've come a long way since then. That was 2010. This is 11 years later. I'm torn, Ryan. So I know it's going to be ranked higher for me than Tangled. It's going to be ranked higher for me than Frozen and Wreck-It Ralph. And I love Wreck-It Ralph. Don't get me wrong. I love Wreck-It Ralph. I'm wondering, will this outrank Moana or Zootopia? Because I think it probably can outrank Moana. I don't think Moana's bad, but I don't think it's going to be this high a level. So my question is this better and deeper in its messaging than Zootopia? And that is because, like we've said before, since we've seen Grave of the Fireflies, the platinum is something that everyone has to see. So I'm wondering, in comparison to Zootopia, is this something that more people have to see, or is this on the same level, or is it lesser than that? That's where I'm trying to think at when we get there. And I know when we get to Zootopia, we'll dive into that deeper, but this is just where I'm going to platinum it or gold it, is where I'm trying to think here.
Okay. Let me throw something at you for your consideration.
Okay.
Is it possible that you may be connecting more to Zootopia because it's closer to our culture and something that you're more familiar with? Absolutely no shade. Absolutely no shade. This is a very serious question because
you're not.
We can absolutely catch the things that it's getting at because we live in that immediately.
Oh no, and I agree with you. And when talking about this film, like we discussed, the whole having to trust each other to make things happen, and the lack of trust causing things to just come to a grinding halt. This is also echoed in real life in the past year. So, Raya has no shyness about echoing what's going on in real life. So, you know what? You kind of convinced me. Just reminded me of that. Within the last year, this film has become more relevant than so many other films, without question. So I would say, yeah, it's probably a platinum just on those grounds alone. It has to be.
Yeah, I mean, it probably won't be a spoiler to you guys since this is the last movie of the list. But I mean, Zootopia is highly likely going to be another platinum. Whether or not I put it ahead of Zootopia, I am hesitant to say right now because it's been a while since I've seen Zootopia. So I think those two are definitely my top contenders, and I need to see Zootopia again before I really make the final call on that.
I'm gonna laugh if we think Zootopia is gonna top it, and then we end up watching Frozen 2 and oh nope, Frozen 2 gets number 1. Yeah.
Oh my god. No, honestly, Ralph Breaks the Internet is just gonna fucking take us all by storm and oh shit, I've never seen this movie before.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing how that turns out. I don't think it's gonna beat Wreck-It Ralph 1, based on what little I know of it, and how much I love Wreck-It Ralph 1. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, double platinums, number 1 spot. Raya, I'm gonna keep saying it. Raya is going to be the one to beat for the rest of the season. I'm looking forward to seeing if anyone can. But that is all I have for this episode. Ryan, are we ready to close out, you think?
I think so.
Well, thank you all for listening, and tune in next week. If my schedule holds out, we will be doing something. I I don't.
According to my schedule, we will be talking about a movie of some sort.
Well, the schedule's all out of whack at this point, so it'll be a Disney movie for sure. It'll be something. Maybe Moana, maybe Frozen. I don't know. It depends on the order. But do tune in because let's see, what month are we supposedly in? Either end of May or early June. So tune in because you will be having a exclusive Frozen 2 or an exclusive Snyder Cut.
Oh God.
Having happened or coming your way.
Oh God.
And yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you after the credits.
Bye.